Welcome back to the Resiliency Ninja podcast. I'm your host, Allison Graham, and today's episode of Facha Fridays is brought to you by a very frustrating Thursday. All right, I am going to talk about the issue of having patience in your business. As you have a great big goal and a vision that you want to bring to fruition, but the day-to-day you may feel like it's not happening fast enough. And this is something that I struggle with, and thus the very frustrating Thursday when I had to remind myself of all of these pieces that I'm going to share with you tonight. And it's interesting because today was the right day for me to have impatience in the fog of frustration, because I went tonight to an event that was so beautiful in terms of illustrating the power of patience. When, just you want something so badly and you've just got to trust the timing. And I know it can be really difficult. But tonight I was at the Rocking Vibe Dragon's Den reveal party. So for those of you who are international, you might recognize a similar program called the Shark's Tank. Dragon's Den is the Canadian version, and Liana, who is a friend of mine, and she actually shot the book for Married My Mom, Birthed a Dog, How to Be Resilient When Life Sucks. She was the cover photographer. But in her spare time, she actually designed jewelry. And so she does crystals that go into the boardroom. So for people who love crystals and energy and all of that, she creates these beautiful pieces. And what people won't see when they see the successful bid tonight is that this was the third time she went to the Dragon's Den. It didn't happen overnight. She had to put the patience in. She had to put the sweat equity in, all of those years of effort and effort and effort. And finally, now her dream is coming to reality. And I know as high achievers, you also want things to happen right now. And in today's society, we are, we are so accustomed to getting what we want right now. We haven't practiced the skill of delayed gratification. And I know I'm speaking to the choir on this, but I know I'm speaking to myself as much as I'm sharing with you, because I really was frustrated today because I felt like things weren't happening well enough, like fast enough. Things are going great, but I want more. And I think, it was somebody who said to me, more is the most toxic word in the English language. Why do you need more of something? And so I was thinking about that today too, but we'll save that for another podcast. Steve Jobs said, he had this great quote. He said, you can always connect the dots looking backward. It's really, you can't connect them looking forward. But I'm going to challenge you to have faith that the dots are connecting, and that you have to trust the timing. And sometimes it feels like things aren't going quickly enough, but eventually your big vision, if you stay the course, it will come to fruition, and the dots are connecting, which leads me to the next point, which is after you believe the dots are connecting, I need you to spend time celebrating and honoring the dots, the dots along the way. The ups, the downs, the days when you don't even realize that what you're doing is more than 90% of the people out there would do. The fact that you're in business, the fact that you're taking risk, that you're striving towards something, that puts you in an elite class. And sometimes we don't take the time to acknowledge that and to celebrate how hard that really can be. So good job, and celebrate those wins. One of the things I was really frustrated with today is at the beginning of the year, I set a really high goal for how many speeches I wanted to do this year. Audiences, it's what I love to do. I love to be at conferences speaking about resilience and business generation, and I failed. I didn't hit my goal in terms of volume. What I was missing and what would have probably saved me in going in that spiral of feeling down about this was that I have spoken to lots of audiences this year and had incredible results and incredible stories coming out of those speeches. And even last week, I had 3 speeches in one day, like a hat trick, like, yay. It was a huge win. And then, tomorrow I have a speech, like another keynote, and I'm really excited about that. But in the moment, when you're looking at the big goal and you're realizing you're not hitting that and it's not coming to fruition, it's hard to remember all the big wins that you've had already. And so I want you to celebrate the dots on the way and trust that they are coming together. The next thing I want you to do is to figure out what is within your control and what's not. So often we're spinning our wheels and we're frustrated because other people aren't taking the action that we want to have. Here's the reality. Nobody has the same agenda you have. So while you may have this great big vision and you're hustling and you're doing everything that you need to do and you want something to come to fruition really quickly, but that other person has their goals and everything that they're doing. And maybe, like in the case of me, with the speaking, they may not have a conference for another 8 months. Well, they're not worried about their speaker now, even though I followed up and said, hey, do you need a speaker? They may not call me for 3 months from now. And actually, one of the speeches I had last week, the person who called me and hired me to speak heard me 10 years ago. 10 years ago, she heard me speak and remembered me and reached out and called me and asked me to be a part of their conference. So you never know. Sometimes patience is just a matter of trusting the timing and knowing the universe is going to unfold in such a way that it will serve your big vision. I think that's really important. The other thing I think is so critical is you have this big vision, you have your why, you have a vision of what you want to accomplish. And I never want you to take your eye off of that. If that's truly what you believe that you are put on this planet to do, stay 100% focused on that. The only thing is you might consider tweaking the how. So stay committed to the what and the why, tweak the how. Because we can always get you there, but maybe what you're doing right now is not the answer. Or maybe the people who you need to meet are not the right people. So maybe you're doing the right thing and not connecting with the right people, and that's the clash. Or maybe you're connecting with the right people, but you're not doing the right thing with your marketing message or speaking to their value or their solution. Like they're not seeing it. And so you got to figure out what that is, and then we can tweak the how you're going to do it. The thing that is absolutely within your control is your hustle. How many calls are you going to make? How many outreach are you going to make? How many social media posts are you going to make? How many podcasts are you going to be on? Are you going to reach out to the media? All of that is within your control. And so if you're feeling really impatient and you're in that fog of frustration, I want you to look at your activity and amp that up, because activity generally will solve the issues, because there's a lag where, if you do enough sales calls, eventually you're going to get more sales, but also it can make you feel empowered in the moment and give you a sense that you're moving in the right direction, because progress is what keeps us going. That's what gives us the hope that one day we're going to get there. I want you to just expand that vision and have that, big grandiose goal that maybe, just stretches you. And it wouldn't be a goal if you had it right now. Because when you reach it, you're going to have to reestablish the goal and start over anyway and expand it. So, the goal is something you chase. It's not always something that comes to fruition right now, but at some point it absolutely will. And again, I'm speaking not just to you, but I'm reminding myself how important it is to stay focused on the what and the why, tweak the how, and find patience. And, you know, I do also want to say that sometimes you're going to have bad days. And today was a really bad day for me. I kind of went down a bit of the rabbit hole and I was not channeling my inner resiliency ninja for the fairness, like, you know, full disclosure. But I got there, and I believe that resilience is not about not having the bad days. Actually, I think we need to have those, because without the bad days, we can't appreciate the fantastic days. I think true resilience is recognizing the bad day, being in it, and then flipping. And how quickly can you reset? How quickly can you get back to focusing on the task at hand and working, you know, towards the goal that you have? And that's resilience. How do you take the bad day, the disappointing the day, the obstacles that get in your way, and recover faster? How do you go back to a place of joy and confidence and know that you've got to stay the course and keep going? So that's my hope for you. So here is, you know, my plea to you. I hope that whatever your goal is, let us know what it is. Share in the comments, send me a private message. And what do you do when you lose sight of it, or it feels like the light is so far down the tunnel that there's no way you're ever going to get to it? Because if you're doing the right activity, if you're connecting with the right people, eventually you will achieve it. The only way you won't achieve it is if you give up. And you don't need to give up. You just have to keep going, celebrate the wins you've already had, and, you know, reevaluate, have faith that those dots are connecting, and share it with us. Let us know. What do you do when you lose the faith and you're feeling impatient? Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for sharing. If you know somebody who feels stuck or is, you know, wishing that something would happen faster, share this with them. I'd appreciate that. And I'd love to hear from you again, r-ninja.com. And until next time, do I dare say, you can say it with me.